Welcome in, everybody, to the best in paranormal podcasting. It's a Wednesday, supernatural news and Parashare here on Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis, and with us we need a co-host. So we reach out to the pearl of the paranormal. We reach out to our jewel, our gem, our treasured one herself. Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the mitten here. See, it's not really my mitten, it's my hand. I'm pointing, if you're looking on video, to my hand right here, right near my thumb. This would be Michigan. Not my hand, because it's way too small for her to live in. But we'll go over to the state of Michigan. We reach out to Mallie Fox. Mallie, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Slowing down a little bit. I've had a little bit of a hectic March and April. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
As a lot of people don't know, but I'll let you know, I've been retraining up at KNSI. So that's what I've been doing through the month of March, because in April, I'll be spelling Todd up at KNSI. He's a producer of Hot Talk with the Ox. I'm giving him a week off and subbing for him, producing Dan the Ox Oxner for a week. So I've been learning a new format, Mal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's a lot to cram in this old brain.
Right.
Yeah. So I've been doing, so you guys haven't been seeing this. I've been doing a bit of a Houdini act with you. So I've been getting up really early in the morning, like 3, 4 in the morning, running down there, working until noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, then running back here and then doing shows for you guys. And so I've been getting like 3, 4 hours of sleep for about a month and a half. Yeah. But I'm happy to do it. This week I get to slow down a little bit. So I'm happy I can do that. So, but
you
it's
need to
kind
get
of like
one of those hotel rooms that you can rent out for like a month.
Oh, you're telling me? I would think they'd at least on an occasion, because the station does have a hotel trade.
Okay.
So you'd think they'd do that for me on occasion.
Yeah.
Let me get a good night's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
No. And they do have a production room where I probably, and they have a podcasting production room. You would think that maybe I could probably use that.
Yeah. Oh.
So, no, I race back here, and it's a 2-hour round trip drive from my house to KNSI. So
you get nothing, not even a fruit basket?
No, I don't even get that. Which would keep me regular for the drive. I know how truck drivers feel
You need that fiber.
Yeah, I need that fiber. So I just munch on an apple on my way back.
There we go.
So
little pineapple.
Oh, pineapple. Oh, I love me some pineapple. It's good stuff.
Yep.
Big show today, Mel. Big show.
I
have a creepy story about a new CIA document, and it's being debated by News Nation of all people that this document is actually real, but a CIA document that says that the Russians were in a war with aliens and turned their soldiers to stone.
Oh, that's weird.
Creepy story that we'll talk about here in just a bit. That's a little bit of a creepy story. I had a listener send in an even creepier story that we'll talk about in AI news about how you ladies finally get your ponies, but they're not the ponies you're thinking of.
Okay. That's weird. I have no idea what that could be. The look you're giving, I'm like, well, what else would it be?
Well, it's not quite the ponies you were hoping for when you were 7.
Okay.
Yvette Fielding's back in the news, and she says she accidentally bought a haunted house. How does a psychic accidentally buy a haunted house?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on in the program. There's a monster under a Kansas boy's bed, but was it a monster? Talk about that later today as well. And scientists say that one day we could grow spare human bodies for transplantation.
Ew.
Want to be creeped out? We'll creep you out a little bit today as well. And we have an interesting palate cleanser today. I'm trying to see if we should tease it or not. Let's put it this way. You got a brand new puppy coming to the house. It just may not be the puppy you're expecting.
Okay.
Okay. That's the palate cleanser too.
Okay.
So, with that, we'll start it off with interstellar news. And in our interstellar news, we'll start right off with Mars. We'll just go straight to where Elon Musk wants to take us, anyways, and tell you about the unusual structures on the surface of Mars. There's actually two stories out there. One that we'll get into a little bit today. The other, I think I'm going to post on the description of this show because it is a little involved. It comes from the Daily Mail and tells you a little bit about these specific structures on Mars, Mel. This particular story is talking about how an unusual structure on the surface of Mars is actually sparking some conspiracy theories that are out there right now. There's a geological feature shaped a little bit like a keyhole that has sparked some claims that there are artificial structures on Mars. Ever since the infamous face on Mars was spotted on the planet's Cydonia region back in the 1970s by NASA's Viking orbiters, the possibility that there could have been once an intelligent civilization on the red planet has become the subject of much speculation and debate. When modern imagery demonstrated that the alleged face was little more than a rocky mesa that happened to look like a face from a certain angle, this hasn't stopped eagle-eyed sleuths from spending hours scouring NASA's orbital imagery of Mars for signs of other anomalies. I am going to stop right here and tell you there's a second story that came out this week that I didn't choose to air this week that does talk about how the red dust on Mars is potentially more radioactive than we think, and it might not be a good idea for us to go there.
Oh.
I'll just put that out there for you to research.
Do you think we should move on to a different planet? I feel like we focus too much on Mars.
I think we should, yeah.
I think NASA needs to move on to something else.
I think we've romanticized Mars a little too much.
Yeah. I just think it's not a planet that's livable. We need to move on to the next one.
I think there's a reason it's as dead as it is. I think it had its time. It had an accident, whatever it was, and there's a reason why it's as dead as it is, and maybe we should just move on. I mean, I realize that we have this idea that maybe that it was teeming with life and we need to find out why it's not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a reason we don't need to find out.
Yeah. Let's drop a robot onto the next planet. Let's check that one out.
I'm with you, man. The latest example, which is found in images captured back in 2011 by NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, shows a keyhole-shaped feature that some now claim could be an artificially constructed building on the planet's surface. George J. Haas, who's the founder of Mars research group, the Cydonia Institute, told Mail Online, "You don't have to be a geologist to know the difference between a rock and a sculpture. There's no way that you can explain that keyhole formation. The natural creation of two opposing geometrically designed formations seems to go well beyond the probability of chance." But is this really true? Over the years, we've seen countless examples of weird things on Mars that have turned out to have mundane explanations. Most of these can be contributed to pareidolia, the brain's innate tendency to perceive meaningful shapes in otherwise abstract patterns. Now, arguably, there's nothing particularly special about this latest example other than its vague resemblance to a recognizable shape. So, is it an artificial structure or simply another case of pareidolia? Well, I'll tell you. There's other cases of pareidolia out there on Mars, and this is the article that I'll post on from the Daily Mail on the description of this program, so you can see these different cases of pareidolia. The keyhole is the first one, and actually, Mallie, I'll show you the picture of the keyhole, and this is what everyone's talking about right now.
Oh, okay.
That structure right there on Mars is what everybody seems to think.
Gotcha.
Is that building that may be on Mars, right? Another structure that's out there is something called a parrot geoglyph. The parrot geoglyph actually has 22 points of anatomical correctness to it, according to Haas, again from the Cydonia Institute. He says it's got 22 points of anatomical correctness. It's a sculpture. It's a work of art. 5 different veterinarians, including an avian specialist, confirmed the lifelike anatomy of this Martian structure, according to the author. Geoglyphs can be found in many different locations on Earth, such as Peru, Israel, England, Australia, and even in the U.S. However, Haas wrote that there is no geoglyphs anywhere on Earth which match the fine detail of the parrot on Mars. Here is the geoglyph of the parrot on Mars, Mallie. That's what that looks like right there.
Oh, okay. I
Okay?
see it.
Yeah, that's the parrot.
Gotcha.
The next shape that is up there that they talk about is the Sagan pyramids, as in Carl Sagan. So I'll show you a brief picture of what the Sagan pyramids look like right there.
Okay.
It's a little more grainy than Sagan pyramids. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
According to this, these are triangular three-sided pyramids which stood out amid steep-sided volcano cones and impact craters at an average height of more than 3,200 feet and a width of nearly 10,000 feet. They would dwarf even the largest pyramids on Earth. The pyramids caught the attention of renowned astronomer Carl Sagan, who speculated that they might have been made by high winds and harsh sandblasting large mounds of rock and dirt into pyramid shapes. But even the late astronomer acknowledged that scientists would need to observe these formations up close to be actually determining whether they are and how they were made. So it's not known whether they were actually built by anyone or just natural formations.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. The Martian Atlantis complex. If you want to talk about a hazy type of picture, I will show you one. Here's the picture courtesy of George Haas. There's your waffle for today.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
You got a bottle of syrup right now?
It actually looks like the waffle maker rather than the waffle.
Yeah. It's although when you look closely, you do see little tiny pyramids all over in that. Here's a little bit closer look at your waffle and a little bit clearer look at your waffle right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still looks like a waffle to me. Maybe I'm hungry, Mal. I think
I
maybe
think you're hungry.
breakfast is what I need. By the way, I told Jess yesterday. Spider Baby and I had brunch on Sunday at Hell's Kitchen.
Ooh, I like Hell's Kitchen. I haven't been there forever.
I had the lemon ricotta pancakes with a side of spring.
Ooh, that sounds light and fluffy.
It's good, and it had berries on top. It had
Mm-hmm.
blackberries, blueberries, and strawberries, and a wonderful caramel sauce on top.
Okay. What's
Now
Spider Baby have?
Yeah, I want to go eat now. I'm done with supernatural news. We're done.
Uh-huh. What's Spider Baby have?
Spider Baby had the peanut butter bacon burger.
Mm.
You know, by the way, and they had a full bar before noon in Hell. I'm just saying, I don't think Hell's that
Right.
bad. So.
Very cool.
But back to our article here. The Martian Atlantis complex, which the Atlantis chaos region of Mars is located in the planet's southern hemisphere. It's characterized by areas of blocky, steep-sided mesas interspersed with deep valleys. So scientists generally believe this terrain resulted from the slow erosion of a once continuous solid plateau that, according to the European Space Agency. But in 2019, Greg Orm of the Society of Planetary SETI Research pointed out that part of the the Atlantis chaos region captured in a NASA image contained the remains of a tightly knit grid of cellular formations. So it's a little, again, we'll post this article so you can read more about it, but it's a little controversial as to what that exactly is. All right, I'm going to show you a picture of the starburst structure. And no, it has nothing to do with the delicious, juicy candy.
Mm-hmm. Especially the pink flavor.
Oh, the pink flavor is the best.
Okay.
No, the red is the second best. That's the starburst.
Yeah. Oh, I like orange over red.
Do you?
Yeah, I like orange.
Oh my gosh, we might have to fight over that one.
Pink, then orange, then red.
Really? See, I go pink, orange. I'm sorry, pink, red, orange, then yellow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how
I think yellow's last for everyone.
Yeah, it's very cloying.
Yeah.
The starburst image, or the starburst, as it disappears on me, the starburst structure. I'm sorry, not the image. I'm looking at the image of the starburst structure. Well, studying ESA images of the that's a heck of a name. I believe it's the Nepenthes Mensae region of Mars, a rugged, flat-topped plateau in the planet's eastern hemisphere. An odd-shaped formation caught Haas's eye. The raised patch of land resembled an irregular star shape with 5 radiating arms that stretched out like a giant starfish. See, I think this is a trick of the eye. If anything is a trick of the eye on Mars, this is it. This raised patch of land resembled an irregular star shape with 5 radiating arms that stretched out like a giant starfish. It's a large mound that's positioned at its northernmost point and 3 smaller mounds of various sizes located at its center. The formation projects so much energy in its shape and design that I've titled it Starburst, Haas said. Well, isn't that good for him? The author believes the starburst bears a strong resemblance to a star fort with triangular bastions at each corner, which are commonly found in Europe in the 16th and 17th centuries and in America during colonization in the Civil War period. So he thinks it's intelligently designed. I think that's a bit stretch.
Yeah.
So, again, I'll post this article so you can get the idea of what it is he's trying to get at behind these structures. But again, you can argue that these are naturally made.
Yeah.
That we're kind of swinging at nothing here. Now, you remember that asteroid, Mallie, that was coming towards Earth? It had a 3% chance at one time, then it was 1% chance that it was going to hit us in a few years.
Yes.
Well, that asteroid now has a better chance of hitting the moon than it does the Earth.
Okay.
Much like a guy in the middle of the night trying to hit the toilet, he's got terrible aim.
Yeah. I think all guys have terrible aim.
Well, so does this asteroid. Well, the odds of it hitting the Earth are now infinitesimally small. I nailed that word. The odds of it striking the moon are not. Earlier this year, concerns were raised when a fast approaching space rock known as asteroid 2024 YR4 was determined to have a 1 in 83 chance of colliding with the Earth in 2032. Well, scratch that. It's not 1 in 83 anymore. It's far from that. As the days and weeks went on, the odds of a collision seemed to keep increasing, and at one point were as high as 1 in 32. Still not enormous, but sufficient enough to raise eyebrows. Fortunately, though, once better observations of the object were made, the odds were ultimately revised down to the point of irrelevance, with just a 0.001% chance of striking the Earth. At that point, they took it off the table in Vegas. We're not betting on it anymore. That would seem to have been the end of it. But more recent astronomers analyzing the asteroid have determined that it now has a not significant chance of colliding with the moon instead. Care to take a guess, Mal, at what the chance is that it's going to hit the moon?
It's probably really, really, really slim.
Yes, you're right there.
Like 1 in, like, I don't know.
Give it a percentage. So if you had to go a percentage, remember at one time it was only at most a 3% chance of hitting the Earth.
Well, I would say 3%. I would say at least like a max of like 1%.
Okay. All right. Good guess. A very good guess. But here's what they're saying now. As things stand, there's thought to be a 3.8% chance that it could hit the moon. So they're going high, right? So they're going to, they're going to whittle down. You're probably closer. I'm just saying, by the time we get done with this story in 6 months to a year, you're probably closer. It's probably going to be a 1% chance. We're just going to call you Mallie the astronomer from here on out. By the way, you have property on the moon, don't you?
Yes, I do. I am surrounded by, I think it's like 5 previous presidents.
There's 5 previous presidents that have property on the moon?
Supposedly. That's what it said on my little certificate, which I have to find. It's somewhere in one of my boxes.
So
I think Ronald Reagan was one of them, but I might be wrong.
So you've got property next to a dead president on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the situation then. My question is twofold. One, there's a 3% possibility your property could be destroyed by an asteroid. And two, how do you feel? One, the question is, how do you feel about that? And two, how do you feel about the U.S. going up and possibly landing on your property again without permission?
Well, first of all, I need to get insurance if that's the case.
Yeah.
Second of all, I need a shotgun and be like, get off my lawn.
Right. Okay. Now that we've got that settled, so we haven't had a proper interview with you since these issues have come up. You need all state and a shotgun. Is what
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want mayhem to happen up there on the moon. Sure. Boy, I better be getting paid for this ad. That's all I know.
You know that insurance commercial where it's like, don't be like your parent?
Yes. Yeah.
I swear to God, every time I see those, I feel like it's me. Where they're like doing things. I'm like, oh my God, I do that. Anyway.
3.8% chance. Yeah, you better call that insurance agent.
I know, that's high risk.
That is high risk. Better get on that there, pal.
I know.
So if this did actually happen, what would it mean for us here on Earth? Well, for Mallie, it would. It's got a much more of an effect than any of them. According to NASA, the asteroid, which measures about 200 feet across, my God, it's going to take out all your property.
I know. I think I only have like 20 feet.
Well, it's gone.
I don't even know how big my property is. I should probably look that up as well.
Probably should, yeah. The asteroid's about 200 feet across, is too small to shift the moon's orbit, so we wouldn't have to worry about the moon itself crashing down on us, which thank God. Similarly, it's unlikely the debris from a lunar impact would make its way down to us. It is important to remember that there's still a 96.2% chance that the asteroid will not strike the moon, although this figure could change either up or down over time. Either way, however, it is not something that it says we don't need to be worrying about. Mallie, I don't know that you should not be worrying about it. I think you put that on a priority list somewhere. Maybe even just check in with the insurance agent.
Yeah, my insurance is already high because I live in the Detroit area. Man, I can be able to afford it pretty soon.
Maybe just a liability policy. Don't go full
just for the moon. Yeah.
Liability. You don't want the Reagans calling you up. You don't want Ronald Reagan Jr. calling you up and saying, listen, we have an issue.
Yeah.
You got asteroid dust on my property.
Maybe I can sell it to Elon.
Well, there's an idea.
Yeah.
You also want drilling rights.
True.
Because they might try to drill up there. You never know.
Yeah. There we go.
Maybe sell the drilling rights to the Trump administration.
Yeah. I really got to find that certificate. That would be a hoot. I got it in the divorce. Well, that was one thing I took. It's just somewhere. It's probably with my divorce decree.
See?
That's somewhere.
Now's the time to cash in, Mal. Cash in.
Make some right?
Yep.
I'll find my IRA and my the other things I got.
You got to think that's worth what? 100,000, 200,000, $500,000? What do you think that's worth?
Yeah, at least. I mean, that was probably 20 years ago I bought it, so
they aren't making more land.
Inflation.
They aren't making more land. You know that. What's even better, tell them you built a tiny structure up there.
I'll probably be hit for not getting for the ordinances. I didn't go the proper way.
Tell them it wasn't you, it was aliens that built it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Have them go after them for the taxes.
Yeah.
they'll really want to go then.
I didn't get the permits for my fence.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be fun. Either way, if you tell them you have aliens up there that have built a structure, well, then they'll really want to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
They'll double time it up there. Yeah. And they'll buy your property for 3 times the amount that you're asking.
Yeah, so I can make a whole, $150.
Oh, no, it'd be worth more than that. If they think there's aliens up there, it'll be worth at least a cool $1 million.
Ooh, there we go.
See? Then you pocket the money when they get up there, and there's no Marvin the Martian up there. Make sure you spend it before they find out.
Yeah, true.
My space modulator. Okay, our next story is about some secretive Russian satellites that released a mystery object into orbit. The 3 satellites, known as Cosmos, have released an object into orbit, and nobody is quite sure what it could be. Even the satellites themselves, which were launched from, I believe this is Pleasistic Cosmodrome on February 2nd, remain something of a mystery, having spent the last couple of months seemingly conducting proximity operations or maneuvering close to other objects in orbit. Russia has provided no information about the satellites or what they're doing, leading to speculation over their true purpose and what their ultimate goal might be. Now, according to reports, there is evidence to suggest that the new object that appeared in orbit on March 18th is likely to have been deployed by one of Russia's Cosmos satellites. As things stand, the nature and purpose of this object remains unknown. It could be part of some kind of military experiment, a technology demonstration, some sort of target practice device, or an unidentified piece of scientific equipment. Whatever the case, it is unlikely that Russia is going to be forthcoming with any details. It is the latest in a long series of clandestine orbital operations over the last few years, not just by Russia, but by the space agencies of the United States and China as well. All 3 countries have been launching secretive missions into space, and there really is no telling what they are up to. Some of these could be spy missions, while others could be designed to be trial technologies with the potential to destroy or disable enemy satellites. While no armed conflict has ever been conducted against another nation in space, it may only be a matter of time before the final frontier witnesses its first hostile action. Now, in all fairness, a lot of people laughed at President Trump when he released Space Force in his first run as president. There was no reason to laugh because this was the future. The future is eventually conducting operations in space. And I happen to have it on good authority from a friend of mine inside government that Russia is already doing things in space. They're doing things like blowing up old satellites and releasing space junk. And when they do that, Mallie, the space junk actually hits our crucial that have to do with telecommunications and damages them. So we have issues with our current satellites. So a lot of times when you have an issue with, like, say your telephone service goes down for a day, or your cell phone service goes down for a day, or we have these mysterious outages, there's a reason for that. A lot of times it's because it's been sabotaged, and you never hear about it. You never hear the reason for it, but it's been sabotaged sometimes by a foreign country. Now you're looking at me like I'm strange.
No, I believe you.
But there definitely is weird reasons why, and we have this game that happens behind the scenes that we never get told about. And if you want to learn more about some of these things that happen, again, I've recommended it a lot over the past few weeks. Some of these Freedom of Information Act documents are already out there. Go to theblackvault.com. Check out some of these documents if you really want to stay up at night and find out some of the weird stuff that gets enacted behind the scenes that you never find out about on the nightly news. It's kind of scary. Okay, speaking of kind of scary, There's more and more declassified documents that are coming out each and every week, Mallie.
Uh-huh.
One of them has been reported by the media and has been reported by not so mainstream media. But News Nation came out this last week and said, we don't think it's a real document. Although it's been verified by certain sources. This chilling declassified CIA file, keep in mind it's a file, that supposedly was absconded with by the CIA from Russia, reveals that aliens committed revenge massacre after a UFO was shot down. In other words, they weren't happy after their craft was shot down. A bone-chilling document declassified by the CIA has exposed an alleged massacre by aliens from a crashed UFO who turned an entire military unit into stone. According to the report, Soviet troops shot down a flying saucer hovering over the Soviet military unit in Serbia, and this was roughly 35 years ago. What happened next was truly terrifying. In the document summarizing a 250-page top-secret file acquired by U.S. intelligence agents, eyewitnesses said 5 aliens climbed out of the wrecked craft, combined themselves into one creature, exploded into a burst of intense energy, and turned 23 soldiers into solid rock. Right.
Interesting.
One CIA official referred to the shocking battle as a horrific picture of revenge on the part of extraterrestrial creatures, a picture that makes one's blood freeze. The agency added that the extremely menacing case proved the aliens who visited Earth possessed weapons and technology far beyond the U.S. government's assumptions, suggesting they were already aware of the aliens' existence. The unearthed document, declassified in 2000, was recently the topic of the AI or Evil podcast, where host Josh Hooper revealed that 2 of the soldiers at the UFO crash site actually survived the encounter. So there are actually 2 people from this encounter still alive. However, the 23 petrified soldiers could not be saved. Their remains and the debris from the spacecraft were reportedly moved to a secret research base near Moscow. An even more concerning detail of the CIA file is the description of the aliens reportedly involved in the massacre, who have been mentioned in UFO reports and sightings for over 80 years. And for those of you who think that maybe the file is fake, I'll show you on video. There's the chromatic of the actual file.
But why haven't we heard of this before where people have turned into stone by aliens? I mean, I haven't heard of that happening before.
Because I don't think too many people have fired back with any such force that would make them want to retaliate.
Okay.
There's nothing that they've thought would be a threat to them, or such a threat that they had to retaliate with force.
Okay.
Right? The only thing that we have that would make them want to retaliate with force would be a nuclear weapon. And they've managed to dismantle those, like even while they're sitting in our silos. We've heard of stories of them hovering over our silos and stopping our nuclear weapons. Those are pretty common at bases. But to do something like this is pretty impressive. There's more to this story. The subject of the document states paper reports alleged evidence on mishap involving UFO. The extraordinary tale was also published in the Ukrainian newspaper Holos Ukraini on March 27th of 1993. The incident, which a Canadian newspaper believed took place between 1989 and 1990, was only uncovered by the CIA after the fall of the Soviet Union and its secret police organization, the KGB. The CIA document explained that the alleged alien craft was flying low and quietly above the Soviet Union while they were engaged in a training mission. Officials wrote that for unknown reasons, the Soviets launched a surface-to-air missile at the UFO. Now, this is where the threat comes in, Mallie.
Okay.
And they launched that surface-to-air missile at the UFO, sending it crashing to the Earth near the unit's position. According to the only 2 soldiers who survived, when the soldiers approached the craft, the 5 aliens freed themselves of the debris and came close together near the wreck. Moments later, the soldiers said the group of aliens emerged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape. In simpler language, the alien beings somehow morphed into a giant ball. That's when the new ball-like alien began to buzz and hiss before igniting into a brilliant white light. With the soldiers looking on, the ball of light erupted into a giant flare of energy, turning 23 of the 25 Soviets into stone poles. The report stated that the only reason 2 of the men survived was because they were standing in a shaded area at the time of the alien energy blast. Testing of the soldiers' bodies shows the alien flare had somehow changed living tissue into a substance that closely resembled limestone. Interesting. The CIA document added that a source of energy that is still unknown to Earthlings was responsible for the blast, which fatally transformed the Soviets. Even in 2025, the science behind such a shocking transformation is still difficult to explain medically and technologically. According to the Journal of Applied Physics, it is possible to use high energy radiation or electromagnetic pulses to change normal matter into plasma, a form that is not a liquid, a solid, or gas. In the reports, the CIA described the aliens as short humanoids with large heads and large black eyes. The account matches who UFO researchers, alleged alien abductees, and others who believe in alien life refer to as the Greys. Their features have become the classic images that the public think of when discussing aliens from outer space: a small, skinny, gray-skinned alien with an oversized head and large black eyes with no iris. The Greys would have eventually become linked to the infamous Roswell incident of 1947, as CIA documents would later suggest that alien beings were pulled from the alleged wreck in New Mexico. These strange creatures would also go on to represent alien life in countless science fiction shows and movies, including Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Despite their prominent place in extraterrestrial research, their disturbing incident appears to be the first time that humans have alleged that these beings could have accomplished such terrifying feats. Now, again, I'll bring it up. A surface-to-air missile destroying a craft, to them, I'm sure, seemed like an overwhelming show of force, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, it's kill or be killed, I would think. And I've always maintained that certain beings, whether it's certain alien beings, if they ever were confronted with that type of force, would never be peace and love. They would never look at you as being a kind, loving being at that point. We would probably retaliate with a force that would destroy you, and would end it at that. I don't know. What's your thoughts after hearing that story?
Well, if that's true, that's a little bit freaky and scary that they can turn us into stone.
Yeah.
That they have the technology to do that.
See that and I think if after hearing that story, if that's a true story, because News Nation came out with a counter story saying that they had it on good authority from somebody that story was quote unquote fake news. But again, I don't know that I trust News Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, believe it or not, of all people, it was Joe Rogan that came out and had a CIA operative or ex-CIA operative who came out during the week and said that it is a true document.
Oh.
It was truly absconded from KGB. They did truly get it from the KGB. So you've got one party saying no, and I think News Nation is getting this from the government, from someone inside government trying to deny that was even taken from the Soviet Union. You've got an ex-CIA operative saying it is a true document, that is. And so I think you have a tug of war going on within government, trying to, whether we truly want disclosure or not. I think it's a disclosure fight that's happening right now.
Are they trying to prevent like mass hysteria?
Yes. Yeah. Because let's face it, Mel, if you were to, you don't want the general populace to realize that these crafts that are in the air have that kind of firepower.
Mm-hmm.
That should you confront one and try to take it on with a bigger weapon, and you do happen to bring one down, that yeah, they're not going to play nice.
It's like War of the World.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Or that maybe, you know, if you're not of a peaceful nature, and let's face it, there are a lot of people in our world that aren't, that they just as soon, you know, drive the pickup truck out there and try and take a shot at it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm stereotyping anybody, but um, that you're not going to end up winning that war.
Right.
You're basically taking your life in your own hands, and you're not going to win. It's an interesting scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Our final story for this half of the program is kind of a cool one. I'll give you that. What was your favorite movie as a kid?
As a kid?
Yeah. Kid or a teenager?
Well, I always like John Hughes films. So like 16 Candles.
Did you have a favorite science fiction movie?
Science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Put me on the spot. I don't know. Not really. I wasn't into science fiction.
No?
No.
Were you an E.T. fan?
I liked E.T., but not, I mean, it wasn't like my favorite movie.
Okay.
I wasn't into alien things.
Well, if you're an E.T. fan, you have a chance to own the body model that was used during a famous scene in E.T. because it's heading to auction.
Is it where the fingers lit up?
No, it's actually the body model from Elliot's closet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I wish it would have been the one where he's got the finger out. That would have been the coolest. It was created by Italian special effects designer Carlo Rambaldi. And it's a 3-foot tall prop, which can be seen in the film hiding among the stuffed animals.
Yep.
Yeah, that scene. I'll show you a picture of it.
Or I liked it when it was dressed up like a woman and it had the wig on.
Yeah, yeah. That one would have been the best, right?
Yeah.
But it's this one right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That'd be
That's
kind of
like
cool.
the saddest version
Well,
out of all the versions of it.
He looks a little confused, doesn't he? He has a confused look on his face. Fans of Steven Spielberg's E.T. the Extraterrestrial have a chance to own an important prop used in the beloved 1982 science fiction film, a body model of E.T., the friendly brown alien who befriends, or he's gray at the end. He's either one. You know, he turns white, you know, eventually when he's close to death. I mean, I don't want to get morbid about it, but he did turn different colors.
That was sad.
The friendly brown alien who befriends a young boy after being left behind on Earth is heading to the auction block. Auction organizers expected to fetch up to, how much do you think for that body model?
Probably like $1 million.
Close, $900,000. Yeah, during Sotheby's, there are such things, 20th century horror, science fiction, and fantasy on-screen sale. I don't know that it's an on-screen sale. I don't know if it's a sale if it's at $900,000. Just that you've put it up for sale. The 3-foot tall body model was used during one of the movie's most iconic scenes, in which the orphaned extraterrestrial hides among stuffed animals in the closet of 10-year-old Elliot, who is played by Henry Thomas. With his eyes wide, E.T. sits silently among a pile of toys to avoid being detected by Elliot's mother, who is played by Dee Wallace. The model consists of an aluminum frame covered in latex, foam, straw, acrylic paint, and adhesive, all attached to a metal base. Sotheby's says the model's wear is consistent with its age and production use. It belongs to the estate of Carlo Rambaldi, the Academy Award-winning Italian special effects artist who worked on E.T. as well as King Kong, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Alien, and many other sci-fi films. Rambaldi, by the way, died in 2012, but his family held on to the E.T. body model and other items from his storied special effects career. Sotheby's is also offering up several of Rambaldi's sketches of E.T., an animatronic reproduction he made of the alien's left eye, and 2 sandworms that he created for the 1984 film Dune. How would you like to own a sandworm? That'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it? You imagine putting that in the mister's food?
Ew.
Just saying. We hope that the artifacts being offered will bring immense joy to those who will cherish them in the years to come, just as they have brought great emotions to my family and shaped the magic of my childhood, says Rambaldi's daughter, Daniela, in a statement. These iconic pieces, they are iconic prices as well. Don't get me wrong. Hold a special place in our hearts, and it is our sincere wish that they continue to inspire and captivate future generations. While writing the screenplay for E.T., Melissa Matheson intentionally omitted any mention of the lovable alien's physical characteristics, according to Sotheby's. That meant it was up to Spielberg and Rambaldi to determine the creature's aesthetic. They drew inspiration from Albert Einstein, Ernest Hemingway, and Carl Sandburg, as well as a painting Rambaldi had made in 1952 called Women of the Delta. Rambaldi also studied his family's Himalayan cat, Kika. I remember saying to Carlo, there's some pictures of Albert Einstein, Ernest Hemingway, and Carl Sandburg. I love their eyes, Spielberg said in a 1996 documentary per Popular Science's Andrew Paul. Can we make E.T.'s eyes as frivolous, also wizened, and as sad as those three icons? That's why he looks sad, Mallie.
Oh, I can see Einstein.
Yeah, I see Einstein when I see him. Yeah. Rambaldi and four assistants also worked long hours to create multiple body models of E.T. to be used during filming, including animatronic versions that could move and talk. Carlo Rambaldi was E.T.'s Geppetto, Spielberg said in a statement after Rambaldi's death, per the New York Times. The film racked up numerous accolades, including 4 Academy Awards in 1983. At one point, it was the highest-grossing movie ever made. Rambaldi played a big role in the movie's success thanks to his meticulous craftsmanship in bringing the title character to life, says Cassandra Hatton, who is Sotheby's vice chairman of Science and Natural History. This model embodies the artistry in an era before CGI took hold, a nostalgic and iconic piece of Hollywood history, as captivating as the stories themselves, she added. You know what my wish would be, honestly? Would be for somewhere like the Smithsonian Institute to buy this body model and put it in the museum.
Oh, yeah.
So that everyone can enjoy it. You know? Not just to have a private collector buy it.
Yeah.
But somewhere where it could, or to have a museum in general buy it. Or even a Hollywood museum buy it. So that everyone could see it,
Right.
Yeah. It would just be better off that way. So. All right, we're going to take our break right here. When we come back, ladies, you've always wanted to own a pony. A listener has chimed in and sent us the perfect story for you. Unfortunately, it's a robot. We'll tell you about it after the break. We'll see if you still want that pony after all. Yvette Fielding says she accidentally bought a haunted house. How does a psychic accidentally buy a haunted house? We'll tell you about it after the break. I don't believe it at all. I don't think that's an accident.
I didn't think she was a psychic.
Isn't she?
No, I thought she was the host of Most Haunted.
Okay. Maybe she's not. I thought she had psychic.
Maybe she's claiming she's a psychic now. Because she used to have Derek, what was his name? Derek something. He was the psychic. Yeah. Or he was a medium.
Yes. Oh, that's right. He had Sam. That's right.
Yeah.
How would you like to hear this one, Mallie, when we come back from the break? A mother is in shock as she catches her toddler eating her grandfather's ashes in a viral video.
Oh, I saw that.
We'll talk about that when we come back. Scientists could one day grow spare human bodies for transplantation. We'll tell you how you can replace that broken ankle someday. Maybe. A Nessie hunting camera rediscovered in Loch Ness after 55 years. Is there footage of Nessie on it?
Okay. Maybe.
Talk about that. And your palate cleanser for today. You too can adopt a new puppy. Here, puppy. But it's not the puppy you were hoping for. We'll tell you what scientists are now developing in the lab. coming up next, right here on a Supernatural News Wednesday. And by the way, we need your Parashares. Send them in, tim@darknessradio.com. It's coming up next, right here on Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Right over there, my co-host, Mallie Fox. Mallie, it's cold outside. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it was snowing yesterday.
It was snowing near you?
We had flurries.
Really?
Uh-huh.
It was just darn chilly here. It was like 30-something yesterday. It's supposed to be in the 50s this time of year.
I know, right?
What's the deal?
I know. Hey, I was going to tell you, the other day I was kind of scrolling and then I lost the story and then I got sidetracked because I get sidetracked by shiny objects.
Oh,
but I saw a story where the ChatGPT whistleblower guy, so supposedly he committed suicide, but his parents had a second autopsy and they're saying they found a second gunshot wound. So they're saying it's not a suicide, because how would a suicide have 2 gunshot wounds? But then I lost the story and then I forgot to check up on it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then I just remembered like 2 seconds ago that I should have looked it up.
Oh.
Yeah. Conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could find it and send it to us.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. Well, with that,
I saw it on the tiki-talkie.
On the tiki-talkie. Well, with that, I guess you've just ripped the Band-Aid off, haven't you, my friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that time again.
Yeah, it's time for AI news. See, anytime you mention ChatGPT, they love it. Yeah, they're like, ChatGPT? That must mean us. Well, ladies, when you were little, you always wanted a pony, didn't you? It was like, I want a pony for my birthday. Right?
I just wanted a Barbie.
Okay, we're a Barbie. That's it. Well, thanks to the makers at Kawasaki, you can now have a hydrogen-powered robotic horse that you can ride.
Is this perverted?
I wasn't gonna make it. But if you want to, I can.
No, you had a smile on your face, like this was something else than an innocent pony.
Maybe the person who sent it in to me meant, I think it was Raul who sent it in, but I don't know if Raul meant to make it perfect.
Okay.
Kawasaki Heavy Industries has unveiled Corleo, a hydrogen-powered 4-legged robotic vehicle designed for riders. You know. Now, see, there I made it perverted. Just because you said it's going to be perverted. They revealed it at the Osaka Kansai Expo 2025. This innovative concept integrates artificial intelligence and clean energy technologies to navigate diverse terrains. Corleo's 4 independent robotic legs enable balanced and stable movement across various surfaces. Each leg operates separately, following the robot to traverse rough and uneven terrain with ease. Equipped with a 150cc hydrogen engine, Corleo generates electricity to power its limbs. This clean energy approaches positions the robot as an environmentally friendly off-road mobility platform, drawing inspiration from Kawasaki's motorcycle designs. Corleo features a streamlined body composed of metal and carbon materials. Its front end includes a head-like shield reminiscent of motorcycle aesthetics, complete with built-in lights for visibility in various lighting conditions. Instead of traditional controls, Corleo responds to the rider's body movements. Hey now. Shifting the center of gravity prompts the robot to adjust its steps accordingly. A heads-up display, or an HUD, provides real-time information on hydrogen levels, navigation, and movement stability, including weight distribution. Corleo's rubber hooves enhance grip in both hard and soft surfaces, contributing to its stability. The robot also possesses the capability to jump over obstacles, although specific performance metrics have not been disclosed. So don't try to jump hurdles too soon. Currently a conceptual model, Corleo lacks detailed technical specifications such as speed, range, or battery life. Kawasaki envisions a potential market release by 2050. Yeah, so don't look at it being on the market anytime soon, I guess.
Right.
But has not provided a definitive development timeline or commercial availability details. Corleo exemplifies Kawasaki's commitment to merging robotics with sustainable energy solutions, offering a glimpse into the future of personal transportation. They also have a video here. But I can show you the still picture of what Corleo is darn creepy. Take a look at what Corleo looks like there, Mallie.
I would rather have a real horse. That just doesn't,
That's the headless horse right there for the headless horseman.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Would you ride around with a headless horse?
Nope.
Headless metal horse that looks like a headless dog, pretty much.
Yeah. That looks more like a grasshopper than a horse.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it responds to your movements. Hey now. That's the only pervy part of it. Meanwhile, it turns out, just as we get creeped out by that little horsey, that most Americans don't trust AI, Mallie.
Oh, really? Surprise, surprise.
Or the people in charge of it.
Yeah, uh-huh.
2 new studies show that the public is anxious about AI. There's a show. AI experts are feeling pretty good about the future of their field, especially with government contracts. Most Americans are not. A new report from the Pew Research Center released last week shows a sharp divide in how artificial intelligence is perceived by the people building it versus the people living with it. The survey, which includes responses from over 1,000 AI experts and more than 5,000 U.S. adults, reveals a growing optimism gap. Experts, by the way, are hopeful, while the public is anxious, distrustful, and increasingly uneasy. Roughly 3/4 of AI experts think the technology will benefit them personally. Only 1/4 of the public says the same. Experts believe AI will make jobs better. The public thinks it will take them away. Even basic trust in the system is fractured. More than half of both groups say they want more control over how AI is used in their lives, and majorities say they don't trust the government or private companies to regulate it responsibly. That makes sense when you look at just how hard the U.S. government has failed at basic tech regulation. Congress loves to haul big tech CEOs in for theatrical hearings, where lawmakers fumble through questions about Section 230. It sound like they were written by someone who just discovered the internet yesterday. It seems like when you look at these congressional hearings, they don't understand it at all. I don't know that I have faith that they would be able to bring on enough experts to understand it enough to regulate it. But I think that it's very important, one academic expert said in the report. The public skepticism about government AI regulation exists alongside the wildly ambitious claims of tech leaders about the future potential of AI. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman said that he expects we may see the first AI agents join the workforce and materially change the output of companies in 2025. That seems to show up in the data. Few Americans believe they have any agency in the AI-driven future. Nearly 60% of U.S. adults say they have little or no control over whether AI is used in their lives. That number isn't much better among experts. There are gender splits, too. Male AI experts are far more likely than women to say they feel optimistic and personally excited about AI. And when it comes to representation, both experts and the public agree that AI design reflects the perspectives of white men far more than women and Black or Hispanic communities. The diversity problem isn't just about who builds the models. It's baked into how people experience the technology. White older generations debate the potential of AI. Gen Z is already living with it. A separate study released this week by Gallup and the Walton Family Foundation finds that Gen Z is highly engaged with AI tools like ChatGPT or Copilot. 79% report them using it, and almost half do so weekly. But that doesn't mean that they trust it. In fact, Gen Z is more likely to say that AI makes them feel anxious, 41% as a matter of fact, then excited, 36% of them. But just 27% says it makes them feel hopeful. Gen Z, they don't trust the government. They don't trust big tech companies. They don't trust the news. Zach Hyranowski, author of the Gallup report, told The Verge. Gen Z recognizes that AI will shape their future jobs and learning, but they're wary of its effects. Nearly half think that AI will harm their ability to think critically. And while most believe that AI can help them work and learn more efficiently, only a third of Gen Z workers trust work done with or by AI as much as human output. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
School and workplaces aren't helping much either. Most Gen Z students say their schools lack clear AI policies. And over half of Gen Z workers report the same about their employers. But the research shows that when institutions do have clear AI rules, young people are more likely to use the tools, trust them, and feel prepared for the future. AI may be advancing fast, but trust is lagging behind. The systems are getting smarter, but the people are skeptical, especially the ones who will have to live with it the longest. They haven't gotten to a point where they feel like the benefits are outweighing the risks, Hyranowski went on to say. So what do you think, Jess? AI or Jess? Mallie?
Well, I don't trust you.
That was AI that said that. What do you think,
Fine,
Mallie?
I see who you favor. Whatever.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That was AI that said that, by the way. It wasn't me.
Mm-hmm. Even though I watched your lips move.
It was AI taking over my screen. What do you think, Mallie? Is that as far as AI goes, do you think there's a general distrust among all generations, or do you think it is just unfamiliarity with the actual technology?
I think there's a distrust with all generations.
Do you think we need to get more familiar with the technology or use it more to our benefit, or do you think that it is simply the fact that it is going to push us out of certain systems, never to be recovered again?
I think there's I think it's going to push us out. I just think we don't I'm afraid we're going to go too far with AI. I feel like just I'm worried about we're going to lose the the being in touch with people and just I don't know how to describe it. I don't like where we're going with technology. I don't like the hands-on. I don't like thinking for yourselves. I don't like I mean, I like thinking for yourself. I don't like using technology not to think for yourself. Like when people use AI to create their blog and stuff, I
Yeah.
think they should use their brain for that, not using technology for it. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, if you want to use it to edit what you've already written, go for it. But to use it to do your own blog, I don't think you should do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're starting to rely on it too much.
Right. Right. It'd be one thing if we were. This is gonna. People are gonna say, Tim, you're sounding like you're almost communist here by saying this, but it's not. If you think of it like a Star Trek society where they've integrated robotics and AI
Mm-hmm.
and are doing things where they're automating things and they're able to focus on certain tasks so that they can automate things around them so they don't have to do menial tasks. It works in that society, right? But we're a for-profit society. And in a for-profit society, doing menial tasks is part of that. We do menial tasks for profit.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't take those jobs away. We need every opportunity we can get in order to farm money out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need opportunities. People need opportunities to make money. And when you take those opportunities away, you're limiting your job market, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I just see a lack of opportunity the more we develop technology. Uh, it can be said, well, no, there's more opportunity the more we open up technology. Not necessarily. You got to keep in mind, I come from an industry where they've implemented more and more technology and the industry has shrunk. There have never been more jobs created. It's been less jobs.
That's true. That's very true.
So I hate to tell you guys this. The more technology changes, the less jobs are created.
Well, I feel like too, the more technology there is, the less in touch with other people there
Mhm.
are. Like when I hate to say this, but like when we were in school, you communicated, you talked with people because we didn't have all this technology to keep us entertained. We didn't have phones, we didn't have video, well, we had video games, but we didn't have the kind of video games that we have now. We didn't have the iPads, we didn't have the like, the laptops. We didn't have all of this stuff at our fingertips. So we had the communication. We were outside, we were doing all of these things, and I feel like you start to separate yourself from other people, from the world, when you are being preoccupied by technology. And so you kind of lose touch with other people. Like people would rather text rather than call or talk to people. And so you almost become like fearful of talking to people or going outside of your house, or you know what I mean, going grocery shopping because you don't want to deal with people, because you almost lose that what's the
You,
word
you
I'm
do
looking for?
you
You
do
know what I
become
mean?
insular, right? You do become more insular, but there's also, think of it this way: you become insular, but at the same time, you've expanded your worldview, right?
Well, true.
You've reached out. Think of the friends we have now outside of our community. I mean, we're not centralized locally. I mean, I have more friends around the world than I would have ever had in my own community. But I don't have as many friends locally as I would have had if I wouldn't have had the technology.
Yes.
It's an interesting conundrum. I probably have more friends on the east and west coasts than I do in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a weird conundrum to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm probably closer to those people than I am to the people I am locally. It's odd, isn't it? But technology is a wonderful thing that way because it allows you to keep in touch with those people that way. But does it? I mean, you're not going to get together and go hang out and personally be together. You can keep in touch through a device and you could talk through a device, but you're never going to get together and go to Disney, or you're never going to get together and have
Right.
a picnic. You're never going to get together and go to a ball game or anything like that. Um, but you will be able to talk and get
So
to
it's
know.
almost like it's making you become introvert in a way, like you are fine communicating with people like inside your home, communicating with people outside, like in the outside world, because you don't have to like go out and physically talk to them. You
Yeah,
can you can communicate from the safety of your own home.
yeah, yeah. It's a mixed blessing. It really is. Um, I don't hate it. It's
Hmm.
changed my life. It's you know there are certain people I'm blessed to know because of it. Uh, but you know, um, but could it be used different? Sure. Yeah, yeah. But I think we could use it different in a business sense. We could use it different. Um, we could use it more for our benefit rather than let it use us. I think there's times when we let it use us a little too much. We've become a
Hmm.
slave to it a little too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I know my cousin is having issues. She's a teacher. She's having issues now with papers because her students are using technology, using the chat,
Chat GPT. Yep.
yeah, to do their papers. And so she's having to, figure that out.
Yeah. There's now ways for teachers to scan for that, to see if those papers are being used for illegal purposes. Yeah.
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 Kids
Basically.
aren't thinking for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, kids have been cheating on their schoolwork for all time, right?
Yeah. We just used to write on our hands.
Right. Kids have been trying to steal test scores and trying to get over since God knows when, since Moses was in short pants, right? But I mean, that's nothing new, but they're just now using technology to do it and do it for them. And they're getting lazier with it.
Yeah.
But that's an American ethic, right? You don't see kids in other countries doing that.
No.
That's an American ethic. And that's something we need to break our kids of. That's an honesty thing. That's not a technology thing. They're just using a different method to do it. So, yeah. I mean, you don't see kids in other countries doing that. They're doing the work. So, I mean, you've got kids in China and Japan and Europe that have the same technology. They're not using it. They're excelling in their test scores. So I don't know what to tell you. We can use that same technology to teach our kids.
Yeah.
Right. But for some reason, we're not. 6 of one, half dozen of another. With that, let's move on to our next story. An interesting story here, Mallie. I know what your name.
Is that what you're gonna say? Mallie, I know what your name is.
There's discovery of an ancient garden beneath Jesus's burial site, which backs up a biblical account. I know people are like, Jesus wasn't buried anywhere. He ascended to heaven. I'm going to get those emails too. The discovery of a 2,000-year-old grove of olive trees and grapevines is believed to reflect the Gospel of John's account of where Jesus was buried. Archaeologists are digging under the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem and have found signs of an ancient garden that align with biblical descriptions. Many Christians believe the church is where Jesus was buried, and it continues to be a major pilgrimage site. Now, the discovery of a 2,000-year-old grove of olive trees and grapevines are believed to reflect accounts in the Gospel of John where Jesus was crucified and laid to rest. Now, in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden was a new tomb in which no one had yet been laid, the Gospel of John states. The archaeobotanical findings have been especially interesting for us in light of what is mentioned in the Gospel of John, where information is considered written or collected by someone familiar with Jerusalem at the time. Professor Francesca Romana, I believe this is Stasola, told the Times of Israel. The Gospel mentions a green area between the Calvary and the tomb, and we identified these cultivated fields. Excavations have since begun, as the churches expect crowds of pilgrims over Easter celebrations. The 2022 project marked the first major restoration since the 19th century and was headed by a Sapienza University of Rome professor. The restoration had to be agreed upon by the Roman Catholic Church, Armenian and Greek Orthodox custodians. It also needed an Israel Antiquities Authority license. With the renovation works, the religious communities decided to also allow archaeological excavations under the floor, Professor Stazola said. The team found layers dating from the Iron Age under the basilica, including pottery, oil lamps, and soil samples. The presence of pre-Christian artifacts suggests the land changed over time from a quarry through cultivated land to a burial site over time, which is interesting. So Do you think, Mallie, there might be the bones of Christ there?
Could be.
It's an interesting thought.
It would probably piss off a lot of people.
It might. And you know that, but okay, there's some exciting thoughts there and there's some disturbing thoughts there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you find the bones of Christ there. Does that change the narrative? Or does that affirm the narrative?
But how could you prove it though? You can't really do a DNA
Sure.
thing, can you?
Sure. Because supposedly they have in a church in France, they have the artifact of Mary, or they supposedly have the artifact of Mary. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's sketchy at best, but there's supposedly, you know, if you believe in the Shroud of Turin.
Oh, yes, true.
You could try to take artifact. There's the touch DNA technology is getting better. So you could cross-reference. You have, if you can, is it supposedly they have the ossuary of Joseph, who would have been, well, no, he wouldn't have been Jesus's biological father.
Right.
But do they have Mary's ossuary? I'm trying to remember. That's for someone to email me and tell me I'm crazy.
Right.
But
if they can prove that that's Jesus' bones, though, then I think you might have some people upset.
They do have Jesus's brother, though, his bones in the ossuary, if I remember right from some of the specials I've watched.
Okay.
So you could do a DNA if there's enough. I mean, the bones are so old. If there's enough for DNA, you could figure out if there's a match as far as a relative goes. So there might be enough. I don't know. I'm not enough of a DNA expert to tell you.
Right.
But you could cross-reference and see if there's a match there.
I mean, you get people upset when you say that Jesus' birthday isn't actually December 25th.
True.
So.
And yeah, there's a lot that you can throw out there.
Right. So.
People upset. But
yeah.
But you gotta put out there what you can put out there.
Yeah.
You know, right? Speaking of putting things out there that we put out there, I've called Yvette Fielding psychic the entire program, and you just corrected me, and I'm sure screaming at their device.
I didn't correct you. I didn't know she was calling herself a psychic.
No. I think I'm wrong there, and I think you're right. And I've been calling her psychic, and I'm sure people have been screaming at their listening device. So that's our next story, by the way. Yvette Fielding says, I accidentally bought a haunted house like in Ghost, and our guests wake up screaming. Yvette Fielding says she and her family would have never picked their period property in Cheshire if they'd known how many spirits were going to be living alongside them. Don't you deal with this on your TV show?
Exactly. She's like Katie Price. She just pops up, and when people forget about her, all of a sudden she pops up in the news and says something, and you're like, okay, whatever.
Yvette Fielding has revealed that she and her husband have often found themselves in scenes at home, which could have come straight out of the hit BBC comedy Ghosts. It's on CBS too. But the former Blue Peter star who fronted paranormal TV show Most Haunted for years, claims she would have never bought their 17th century house in Cheshire if she had known how spooky it was. As she launches a new children's book, Yvette says she and TV cameraman Carl Beatty once sat at their kitchen table and called out to the spirits in the house soon after they moved in with their two kids in 2003. Most of them came through and told us their names and confirmed that they each had lived in the house, she said. They all adored the house and wanted to continue living here with us. They told us they particularly liked it when Carl and I danced in the kitchen. It was funny to think that they'd been watching us and enjoying it. They probably laughed too at your dancing. Pretty funny. Probably don't have any rhythm. Insisting that she loves her beautiful, warm, welcoming home, Yvette admitted, would we have bought it had we known it was haunted? Certainly not. There was no way I would have wanted to live in a haunted house. After all, I spent most of my time investigating haunted locations. The last thing I needed was to live in one. Really?
You bought a 17th century place. Odds are it's probably going to be haunted.
I only have this to say to Yvette. Duh. BBC hit Ghosts from the team behind Horrible Histories ran for 5 series and 4 Christmas specials from 2019. Among the ghosts encountered by homeowners Allison and Mike are an Edwardian lady of the manor, a World War II Army captain, a Stuart witch, a cheating Tony MP, and a headless Tudor nobleman, in case you tune into that program. Yvette, who is 56 now, says the first ghosts they came across were spirit children called Master Benjamin and Elizabeth. That's creative. Who loved to move objects around. Going into the kitchen one morning, I couldn't get in, she said. Something had been shoved up against the kitchen door. I pushed and made it in, only to discover a chair had been placed in front of the door. All the kitchen chairs had been placed on top of each other with precision. It was a scary sight to behold and yet miraculous. Their creepy Tudor house has foundations that go back to the 14th century, and her kids, William and Mary, her kids are at college, who were 10 and 15 when they moved in, said it reminded them of the Weasleys' house in Harry Potter. While their parents tried to protect them from the ghostly goings-on, the youngsters soon had their own brushes with the spirit world. She says, my son Will was in his teens when he saw the bottom of a white dress floating up the stairs. A friend of mine witnessed the apparition too, and my mom always saw her walk into the bathroom, Yvette says. And when Mary was 6, she was playing in her bedroom, and suddenly the pile of CDs that were stacked up on top of her TV all begun to flung themselves around the room. Carl once saw a particularly distinctive ghost, Yvette says. He was watching TV when he saw a costume man pass by our living room window in the garden. Carl ran outside but couldn't find him anywhere. When he described him, we both figured out the man was a Cavalier soldier from the English Civil War. Yvette said the scariest ghost they've encountered in their home was a dark hooded figure, which haunts their green bedroom. Apparently, if he doesn't like you, he'll wake you up, staring you right into the face as you sleep. Guests have woken up screaming with this ghostly face pressed against theirs.
So she must have been waking a lot.
Yes, she must get that ghostly visitor a lot. Well, it's not like, they're in the throes of passion and all of a sudden there's the dark hooded figure going, me next.
Yeah.
Anything like that. I mean, it could be worse. Just pointing that out.
I liked that show a lot when it first came out, and then she annoyed me because I was like, she just seemed so over the top and fake.
Yeah. Speaking of fake, Mallie,
yep.
We're going to go to Florida, where a Florida woman stole thousands of dollars during tarot card readings and spiritual cleansings.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to Doral, Florida, where a Florida woman was arrested after she allegedly conned a man out of thousands of dollars during a bogus tarot card reading and spiritual cleansing. You always got to be careful. I mean, there are legit psychics out there.
Yes.
We try to, and when someone asks me via email, do you know of any good psychics? I try to give them the best of the best.
But unfortunately, there's more fakes out there than the real ones.
Yeah, there are a lot of frauds out there.
Mm-hmm.
According to an arrest report, 67-year-old Carmen Valdez de Miguel was arrested on Monday and faces charges of organized scheme to defraud, grand theft, and resisting an officer without violence. The alleged con began back on March 11th, only March 11th.
Oh,
this is
recent.
This is how fast it built up. When a man found a flyer on his card for a tarot card reading and called the number. He spoke with a woman, the report read, and agreed to a tarot card reading session for only $20. Listen to how fast this builds up, Mallie. 2 days later, on March 13th, the man went to an apartment and met Valdez de Miguel, who reportedly referred to herself as Maria Rodriguez. During the reading, Valdez de Miguel allegedly told the man he needed a deeper spiritual cleansing procedure that would cost between $600 and $700.
Woo! Ow!
She went for the big hit right away.
Yeah.
Trusting her advice, the man agreed to a partial payment and transferred $200 through Zelle. Oh, buddy. He then returned to the apartment and met with Valdez de Miguel again on March 14th for the spiritual cleansing session he had prepaid a portion of, according to the report. The report detailed that Valdez de Miguel asked the man during the session about his available bank balance, where he reportedly told her he had $8,000 available. Why would you do that? Following the man's response, Valdez de Miguel then allegedly asked him to bring the full amount next time and assured him that if she were to use the money in a ritual, it would double and she would return it the same day. The man then returned to the apartment with $3,000 in cash on March 19th, according to the report, where Valdez de Miguel placed the money in a bag with eggs, because eggs are about $3,000 these days.
Right. Yeah.
During the ritual, the report stated that the bag was broken, and upon opening it, the man claimed that all was left inside were broken eggs and worms.
Ew.
Ick. The man told authorities that Valdez de Miguel appeared to be startled by what was in the bag. When he asked for his money back, she claimed that she couldn't do so due to her state of mind. She was traumatized, man.
Mm-hmm.
Valdez de Miguel then allegedly assured the man that his money would be returned the next day. The report stated that the man had made multiple attempts to contact Valdez de Miguel following the bizarre encounter, but that she had refused to return the money. She asserted that the funds were part of a ritual and could not be released until the candles extinguished on their own, despite having previously assured the victim that his money would be returned the same day, rather. On Monday, Valdez de Miguel was taken into custody, where officers gave her the opportunity to return the money, but she denied knowing the man. Oh, all of a sudden, I don't know who you are. I've seen this guy before.
Right.
Investigators also told WTVJ that they had discovered Valdez de Miguel had 3 warrants in separate theft cases.
Oh.
Valdez de Miguel appeared before a judge on Tuesday who set her bond in the case at $5,500. Okay, I had a chance to review this very interesting arrest affidavit, which also makes one realize you should never respond to a flyer left on your vehicle for tarot card readings, because you don't know what's going to happen, especially when you're asked to bring $3,000 in cash, put the money in a bag with some eggs, Judge Mindy Glazer said. This is bizarre. So the judge knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Fox News Digital reached out to the Doral Police Department for comment. Guess what they got?
What?
It wasn't a bag full of eggs and worms, I'll tell you that. There's a whole lot.
Yeah, when someone asks you how much money you have in your bank account.
Yeah. Run away at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of shocking, such as a bag of eggs and worms.
That's just nasty.
A mother is in shock as she catches her toddler eating his grandfather's ashes in a viral video. She says, "I was mortified." A British mother had a shock after seeing what her toddler had been getting up to while she was putting away laundry. In a TikTok clip, which has now gone viral, of course it would, the mom showed her son running around a living room covered with toys before turning the camera on some powder scattered on a table in the couch. "Oh my God, when your son eats your dad's ashes," TikTok user, what is this name? At Palomino Lil. That's her name, Palomino Lil. Said behind the camera, showing viewers a brown urn as the little boy started to cry. Maybe he just wanted something to drink to wash it down?
Yeah, he had it all over his face or like his mouth area.
My son has eaten my dad's ashes, the social media user added, turning the camera to a packet of wet wipes on the couch covered with the ashes. She captioned the Tuesday, April 1st post, "Oh my God, as of Thursday, April 3rd, the video had been watched 13.2 million times and liked 1.3 million times." The TikTok user who posted the video, Natasha Emeny, from the UK, East Midlands city of Lincoln, said she'd been putting laundry away when she noticed what her 1-year-old son, Koa, had done. She insisted the urn had been placed on the top shelf. However, he still managed to get his hands on it. "It took me a moment to realize, in fact, that it was my dad's ashes," she said. "I was mortified. I'm still trying to process it." Emery has since told the Sun's Fabulous Online that her son absolutely is fine, as he didn't consume much of it. Oh, Mallie, here he is right here. Look at this little guy. Look at him.
I know, it looked like he got into an ashtray.
That poor kid.
He's a cannibal.
He's a cannibal. Koa the cannibal. Look at him eat. Yum, nom, 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 nom. Ah, that kid.
Because my fear is, like, if I was to ever, like, spread someone's ashes, that it, like, the wind would blow it back on me. But this poor kid, he actually ate it.
I wonder how Grandpa tastes.
Yeah. There was a little bone stuck in my teeth.
Crunchy. In the comments section, by the way, TikTok users couldn't believe what they were seeing. "A sentence I've genuinely never heard before," one person said. "What do you even do in this situation?" Another questioned, as one wrote, "Let us know if he starts acting like your dad." "When your son eats your dad, I hate when that happens," a different person joked. The TikTok user has shared multiple selfies of her and her son on the social media site on Thursday, April 3rd, writing in the caption, "Morning selfies from me and Coco. Been a crazy 48 hours since this little one opened up my dad's ashes." Yeah, crazy. At least he didn't snort them. At least he ate them.
Yeah.
Future drug problem with Coco.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah. For kid. You could be a future Coke user if. We'll post this in the description of the program so you can watch little Coco go at it and eat up Grandpa. Num, num, num. If you want to. I mean, it's totally up to you. I don't want to watch it anymore. I've seen it. Speaking of kids with issues, there's a monster under a Kansas boy's bed who turns out to be a genuine intruder, Mallie. Did you ever have that fear that there's a monster under your bed when you were a kid?
Not my bed, but my closet.
Okay. What would you have done if it was real?
I freeze when I'm scared, so I would have froze.
Yeah. Well, a babysitter who tried to prove that there was no monster under the bed of this boy got more than she bargained for. The incident, which occurred in the town of Great Bend in Kansas, began when a babysitter who had been looking for some kids, or after some kids, struggled to calm down one particularly terrified toddler who was adamant that there was a monster hiding underneath his bed. Keen to prove the youngster that there was nothing to be frightened of, the babysitter knelt down to peer under the bed, only to find, to her horror, that there was a strange man hiding underneath it.
Do you remember that horror movie, like, from the 70s, where the phone call, the babysitter was in the house and the phone call was coming from within the house?
Inside the house, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's like that.
Yeah. The woman did her best to remain calm, though the encounter ended in an altercation during which one of the children was knocked over and the man ended up fleeing the scene. Creepy. Fortunately, police officers were able to apprehend him a short time later, thank God. It turned out that the 27-year-old who had once lived at the property had since been ordered to stay away under a protection from abuse order. So this guy lived there before. How weird is that? He now faces multiple charges, including aggravated burglary, aggravated battery, and child endangerment. It remains unclear, however, exactly what he was doing under the young boy's bed in the first place. Creep-tastic.
Yeah. Have you heard of that? Is it frogging, where strangers are like living in your attic
Yes.
and
Yeah,
then they come out when you're gone, or and they're eating your food and wearing your stuff?
we've covered that before on the show.
Ugh.
It's creepy. Yeah. I have that fear sometimes that someone snuck into the house while we're gone
Mm-hmm.
and is creeping around the house. Yeah. Actually, I have more of a fear that someone will do that while we're in the house and I'm sleeping because I hear the house settle at night.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it sounds like someone's walking around at night. And I
Mm.
have more of a fear of confronting somebody in the middle of the night, having to wake up and grab my glasses and put them on and having to go out and physically confront somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's more of a fear of mine. So,
Mm.
so those of you who want to break in, I live at. No, I'm just kidding. I'd never tell you people that. All right. You got a favorite body part that's wearing out there, Mallie? She needs to place.
These questions, and I'm failing with my answers
You're failing with it.
tremendously. Yes, like you asked me about the movie. I'm like, oh, 16 candles, and it's E.T.
It's easy.
Completely opposite of
You don't
like
have
what you're looking for.
you can't answer this simple one. You have a body part that's failing that you need to replace.
My whole body's failing. I'll tell you what, my knee is going out. My damn dog. I twisted it the other day going down the steps with her. So I'll say my knee right now.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. I've probably got about 16 body parts that need to be replaced,
Mm-hmm.
including most of my neck and spine.
Eeh.
Well, scientists say that we could one day grow spare human bodies for transplantation.
Oh.
Straight out of Body Snatchers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Believe it or not, they already have a name for it. This is creepy. Mm-hmm. You
Well,
ready
because I
for
already feel bad for those people that have a baby, for the kid that has like an illness.
a spare?
Yeah, the spare. No, you know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about? Where like they have to have, because one kid's ill, so anything goes wrong with that first child, the second child has to have, give them their spare organs or the blood or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
It's
know
kind
what
of
you
like
mean.
that.
Yeah. They already have a term for it. It's known as bodyoids.
Eh, that doesn't
Y-
sound right.
No, these Frankenstein-esque creations could help to solve donor organ shortages. It's an idea that sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, but the concept of growing live human bodies for medical research and organ transplantation has been around for quite some time. These creepy creations known as bodyoids would be technically alive, but wouldn't possess any sort of consciousness or awareness. They'd basically be laboratory organisms. Certainly, such a thing is likely to immediately stir up a cacophony of ethical concerns. So, how could we be sure that these entities aren't people and they wouldn't be able to feel any type of pain, either physical or emotional? For years, scientists have been looking into the possibility of growing individual organs for transplants, which on the face of it would seem like a preferable idea, but the concept of growing entire bodies is still on the cards. While the technology to create something like this doesn't currently exist, that's not likely to be the case forever. Already, scientists are working on ways to create synthetic embryos in a laboratory. Boy, that brings up a whole list of
Yeah.
confrontations, doesn't it?
Yep.
Of course, if we really went down the rabbit hole, it's possible to imagine a future in which people are transplanted entirely into new artificially grown bodies designed to or for maximum compatibility. By doing this repeatedly, whenever their current body gets too old, a person could theoretically live forever. The question is this really a path humanity wants to go down?
Nope.
You wouldn't want to be transplanted synthetic body to
Mm,
synthetic body?
no.
No. You wouldn't want to live forever, huh?
No.
No. I don't know.
I don't
I
think
don't
I
know
would.
If they've made the technology infallible, would I want to try it? I don't know. I know this body's pretty beat up. I'd like to try this body, but I don't know.
I don't think we could sustain, I mean, the population alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You deal with an overpopulation.
Yeah. It just, no. I think it's asking for trouble.
It'd be rough.
Yeah.
It'd be rough. All right, we're getting down to the last couple of stories here for supernatural news today. By the way, if you have a story for us, tim@darknessradio.com is where you can send it in. We also need your Parashare stories, your true stories and your true encounters with the paranormal, whether it be ghosts, aliens, or the cryptids, Sasquatch, or whoever you've had the encounter with. You can send it in, tim@darknessradio.com. Also, you can go to our website, darknessradioshow.com. There's a blue button on the right-hand side. You can send us a voice note. You can just click on that blue button. You've got 2 minutes to do so, to send that voice note. If you need more time, click on that blue button again. Send us an additional 2 minutes. Rinse and repeat. Keep doing that until you've finished your story. I'll stitch those 2-minute bits together. Or if you have a studio like the one you're looking at here on video, you can put together your voice, put some music behind it, maybe some sound effects like the old theater of the mind. Send in your project. I'll review it and see that it's suitable for air. And if it is, I'll air it here on the show. All right. This next story came to us from a listener, and it has to do with a New England professor who's sharing his time travel theory. Ronald Mallett, who's professor emeritus of the University of Connecticut, is best known for his theory on how time travel is possible. Ronald Mallett has dedicated a majority of his life to finding a way to travel through time. And while one may assume his passion was spurred by movies like Back to the Future, Mallett's motivation was a lot more personal. Mallett is the professor emeritus at the University of Connecticut and is a theoretical physicist, most known for his mathematical theory on how time travel is possible, and shared how he said it can be made a reality. Mallett grew up in the Bronx in New York as the oldest of 3 siblings and was extremely close with his father, Boyd. Working as a television repairman and described as a wonderful father by Mallett, Boyd had a sudden heart attack at 33 years old in 1955 when Mallett was just 10 years old. Mallett said it shattered my life. Mallett's father was a stickler about education, and Mallett turned to reading for comfort. Then he came across the book which changed his life, H.G. Wells's The Time Machine. In the book, it describes that time in the 4th dimension. That time is the 4th dimension in a 3-dimensional space. And one can move forward and backward in the time dimension as you can in the other 3. Maybe if I had a time machine, I could go back into the past and see my parents again and tell them what was going to happen, Mallett said. I became obsessed with the notion of having a time machine. Without the means to go to college, Mallett enlisted in the Air Force in the final years of the Vietnam War with an intention to use the GI Bill to fund his higher education. After being in the Air Force for 4 years, Mallett went to the Pennsylvania University and eventually earned his PhD in 1973 at 28 years old. He became an assistant professor at UConn for 2 years and became a full-time professor in 1987 with multiple distinctions and retired in 2024. But Mallett said he would not have gotten to where he was if he shared his intentions to study time travel. I kept it a secret because I thought if I told people I wanted to build a time machine, they would think I was crazy, Mallett said. He instead focused on studying black holes, a topic another one of his inspirations, Albert Einstein, theorized about. In his theory, Einstein suggested a black hole could also affect time as it collapses and sucks in the gravity that surrounds it. So what exactly is Mallett's time travel theory? Well, Einstein's theory of general relativity suggests that light can create gravity, since photons carry tons of energy and can interact with gravity. In the same theory, Einstein suggested that the stronger that gravity is, the slower time moves, something he referred to as time dilation. Mallett goes on to say, my breakthrough was to realize that if gravity can affect time and light can create gravity, then light can affect time. Mallett showed mathematically that if a beam of laser light can move in a circular path, time can be twisted in a loop. This finding was published in Mallett's 2006 autobiography, Time Traveler, the first time that Mallett spoke publicly about his time travel fixation. There are limits to the theory, though. Mallett said that if a time travel machine were ever to be built, the machine could be turned on for a period of time, and people in the future could travel back in time all the way up to the point that the machine was turned on. This finding, unfortunately, concluded that it would not be possible to go back in time that has already occurred. So Mallett's hope to see his father again is not theoretically possible yet. The dream is that maybe some future scientists or some future time travelers would be able to come back, and I would be able to use their device to go back to my distant past into my father's time that he was alive, Mallett said. So what are the roadblocks for Mallett's theory? Well, Mallett said that the basics of his time travel equation has not changed in the nearly 2 decades since his book was published, but he has developed other aspects to show other possibilities. But Mallett's time travel theory is just that. It's theoretical. To test out the theory, Mallett said he would need funding on the scale of millions of dollars. As far as making it a practical theory, it's going to require that we decide that we really wanted to do it and we're willing to expend the financing to get it done. But that's a tall order, according to Ken Olam, who is the research professor of physics and astronomy at Tufts University, who with fellow Tufts professor Alan Everett wrote a paper in 2005 in response to Mallett. Olam previously researched time travel himself through wormholes, but concluded that it is impossible under the theories of physics that we understand. Olam points to 2 issues that he noted in the paper. The scale of the machine would need to be larger than the visible universe, and when the intensity of light is equal to 0, it creates a gravitationally intense singularity that should not form naturally. There's no possibility that he's going to construct some kind of time travel arrangement here on Earth, or that any future civilization is going to construct such a thing, Olam said. Well, not with that attitude, I say. Let's face it. But Mallett is still hopeful that such technology will be developed in the future for humanity's benefit. I have a feeling that my work will have established time travel as a real possibility, Mallett said. Future generations will be able to use this to control time and control our destiny in a positive way that we can't even begin to imagine. Well, I'm glad he gave it a try.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least he's come up with a formula that seems to make some sort of sense.
Yeah. Could you imagine, though, trying to ask for funding for time travel?
Ooh, especially from the university system. Luck, Professor Mallett.
Yeah.
You got an uphill battle there, my friend.
Ooh, good luck.
Yeah, good luck to you. Good luck to you. All right. Our next story has to do with the mystery surrounding a spate of disappearances on a Caribbean island. People on the island of Antigua are disappearing without a trace, and nobody has been able to figure out why. I say it's hungry animals.
I say it's serial killer.
Okay, serial killer, hungry animals. We figured it out. Next story.
Yes. And we move on.
And we move on. According to them, though, it might not be that simple. The tiny Caribbean island, which covers an area of just over 100 square miles and has a population of 83,000, is at the center of a peculiar mystery involving the unexplained disappearances of multiple people, including 9 within the last 2 years alone. Fell into the ocean?
Possibly.
That would be the third one. One of those who vanished was 74-year-old Hyacinth Gage, who left home to attend a routine hospital appointment 6 years ago and was never seen again. An extensive search of the island yielded no sign of her. The case is just one of many on Antigua, which now has a disproportionate number of mystery disappearances compared to others on the island in the region. Other islands find bodies eventually, said Gage's daughter, Patricia. My mind goes all over the place wondering what happened. People suggest organ trafficking. I've even thought of gang activity. Is it something that is required to do as an initiation? I've never heard of a gang that just takes a person and then never gives them back.
Right. A 74-year-old?
Yeah. What do you do with a 74-year-old? Put them to work? I mean,
yeah.
Here, Grandma, here's an AK-47. We're going to put you to work dusting people.
Right.
There's no,
and you're not really harvesting a 74-year-old's organs.
Right. There's no, yeah. While local authorities maintain they are investigating the phenomenon, no definitive explanation has been forthcoming, and multiple people are still missing. Patricia is now aiming to set up an action group to connect with families of other lost loved ones with the hope of providing emotional support and possibility of finding new information. This isn't a random thing anymore. It's serious. It's a crisis, she said. It's time to take serious action. I hope this doesn't happen to someone close to them before they take a good, fresh look at these disappearances. So it's interesting. 9
Just
people.
start putting air tags on everyone.
That's right. Air tag for everyone.
The government just starts handing them out.
Right. Just like at the airport. We're going to find it. Yeah, that Find My feature on your phone.
Yeah.
Find my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. There's a Nessie hunting camera that's been rediscovered. See, they put an air tag on that 55 years ago.
Yeah.
I found that right at the bottom of Loch Ness. The camera was unexpectedly found by a robotic submarine, and there's still some undeveloped film inside. Hopefully they didn't break it open and expose it to light.
Yeah.
55 years ago, a group known as the Loch Ness Investigation Bureau lowered 6 cameras mounted inside watertight containers into the murky depths of Scotland's most famous lake in an effort to capture photographs of the Loch Ness Monster. Sadly, the group ended up losing track of where the cameras had been placed when poor weather conditions hampered their investigation. Nobody had ever expected to see those cameras again, but during the recent trials of a new robot submarine known as Boaty McBoatface.
Sounds something like kid would say.
Yeah, right? Mom, I got a new robot submarine. I've named him Boaty McBoatface. The underwater vehicle inadvertently snagged onto something it wasn't expecting beneath the lock's surface. Incredibly, it turned out to be one of the cameras that had been deployed 55 years earlier. While there is no video footage on the camera, engineers, I'll call them that too, the energetic engineers, were able to develop a few still images which showed the murky depths of the loch, but no monster. It was an ingenious camera trap consisting of a clockwork Instamatic camera with an inbuilt flash cube, enabling 4 pictures to be taken when a bait line was taken, said veteran Loch Ness researcher Adrian Shrine, who was tasked with helping to identify the device. It is remarkable that the housing has kept the camera dry for the past 55 years, lying more than 426 feet deep in the loch. That is quite remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
The UK's National Oceanography Center certainly hadn't expected to find it. While this wasn't a find that we expected to make, we're happy that this piece of Nessie hunting history can be shared, and perhaps at least the mystery of who left it in the loch can be solved, said the NOC's Matt Kingsland. Pretty nice. That's quite the nice story. Too bad they didn't catch Nessie, but it's nice that they got it.
Yeah, but after 50 years, though, you'd think you'd catch something. Even if it's not Nessie, maybe some strange
Yeah. I mean, a big
creature.
eagle or a king salmon or something.
Yeah.
You would think they'd get something, but they didn't get anything.
Mm.
All right. Whether you be a female rapper or a parasitic wasp, prehistoric parasitic wasp, you're going to use that big butt to snatch something. That's the subject of our next story. I'm getting tired, Mallie. I'm just you're like, yeah, you better wrap that story up quick. Terrifying prehistoric parasitic wasp has used its butt to snatch its victims. Oh yeah, son. You know what Sir Mix-a-Lot said.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he is. Are you trying to kill him?
No, just some of those rappers from like the 80s, early 90s, they're dead.
Just because Biz Markie kicked off doesn't mean doesn't mean that Sir Mix-a-Lot did. Oh no, he's still out there, kicking that one single over and over and over again.
Yeah. Hey, just one single. You can live off that.
Yeah, true, I guess. A horrific insect that lived 99 million years ago had a posterior shaped like a Venus flytrap.
Oh.
Can you wrap that to anything? I can.
Can you?
Yep. shaped like a Venus flytrap. It's really dangerous when I make it clap. Okay.
Don't quit your day job.
I won't. As if today's wasps weren't dangerous enough, imagine being an insect back in the mid-Cretaceous period, minding your own business when all of a sudden a wasp with a Venus flytrap ass built into its abdomen suddenly grabs you with its rear end and lays its eggs inside your body.
That's
Romantic.
interesting.
You're like, that's interesting. I'm like, it's romantic. Oh my gosh, this is a name. It says meet Cyrobethylus charybdis. A terrifying parasitic wasp with a long or from a long extinct lineage that was recently discovered perfectly preserved in amber in the Kachin region of northern Myanmar. Well, it survived the earthquake.
Oh.
Yeah, look at that. The wasp's peculiar abdominal structure is unlike anything ever seen on insects today and was likely used to grab and hold its victims while it hold them still while it laid its eggs. When the eggs hatched, the young larvae would have fed on the host instinct until they reached maturity. Scientists believe that the wasp's unique appendage probably helped it to grab hold of flying or jumping insects that would otherwise be too fast or agile to catch. Perhaps fortunately, Cyrobethylus charybdis went extinct long ago, and although parasitic wasps do exist in the modern world, there is no direct equivalent to this in the terrifying prehistoric species. Or to this terrifying species.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, there is one species that you're going to soon be able to adopt and keep for a pet.
Okay.
Here, Rover. This is our palate cleanser for today, Mallie. Here,
Okay.
Rover. And I even got a cute little picture.
Is this that fluffy white thing I've been seeing?
Yeah, that'd be cute.
Yeah, I've been seeing them. They're so cute.
Yeah, you know what it is?
Isn't it like a prehistoric crap? No, I'm drawing a blank, but I've been seeing it all over news today.
You might have seen them on Game of Thrones. They're dire wolves.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. They were extinct, but now they're being brought back to life.
Yeah.
Look at you. Yeah, I'm going to have a couple of them.
They won't let us have them. Not here in Detroit.
You never know. That's the first place they'll have them.
Yeah, that's true. In the ghetto.
That's right. They'll be the new pit bull.
Yeah.
Scientists have announced that they have successfully brought an animal back from extinction for the first time. In news that seems to have come out of nowhere, Texas-based firm Colossal Biosciences has revealed that it has succeeded in bringing dire wolves back from extinction. What's that?
It's so fluffy.
It is fluffy. It's quite a fluffy little. Oh, look at them. I mean, I'll show you again.
So cute.
Yeah. That little one was just like, I'm back. By the way, it's been 10,000 years now since these things are in the earth. Makes it the first time that any extinct species has been resurrected using modern de-extinction techniques. Interesting, huh? In a video, the firm introduced the world to Romulus and Remus, who are two dire wolf pups, while celebrating the fact that this was the first time anyone had heard a dire wolf howl in 10,000 years.
Oh.
By the way, dire wolves were made famous by Game of Thrones and were a particularly large species of wolf, although they never grew to the size of the wolves seen in the show. The wolves in the show were way than anything real in reality. To bring them to life, scientists use cloning and gene editing techniques. This massive milestone is the first of many coming examples demonstrating that our end-to-end de-extinction technology stack works, said Colossal Chief Executive Ben Lamb. Our team took DNA from a 13,000-year-old tooth and a 72,000-year-old skull and made healthy dire wolf puppies.
Wow.
Yeah. It was once said any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Today, our team gets to unveil some of the magic they are working on and its broader impact on conservation. The big question is, what's next? If it is possible to bring dire wolves back from the dead, it should also be possible to resurrect woolly mammoths, thylacines, saber-toothed tigers, and more besides. While bringing back the dinosaurs is still beyond the abilities of science, creating a park filled with resurrected prehistoric mammal species can now be a very real possibility. There's a little video of our little dire wolves. Did you want a little peek at them?
But can they be was it domicile? Is that the word I'm looking for? I mean, can
Docile?
they be can they be in a home, or are they only going to be wild?
Oh,
Are they going to eat my child?
probably.
Dingo ate my baby.
Yeah, this dingo will eat your baby.
So cute.
They're
You
not,
know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not meant to be domesticated. A dire wolf should never be domesticated.
Okay, that's the word I'm looking for. Domesticated.
These are not crossbred. Now, you could potentially try to crossbreed it with another breed, but these are 100% wolf. These are meant to be out in the wild. If anything, this would be put in a zoo.
Right.
Yeah. So, are you seeing the video of the little one?
Yes.
Yeah. Aren't they something?
Very cute.
Yeah. So, but that's them howling away. Yeah. See if we can get a little. Is there a little?
We don't need to be bringing back all of these creatures, though. It's going to go wrong like Jurassic Park.
Can you hear them?
No, I can't hear them.
Can't hear them?
No.
You hear them now?
Nope.
No?
No.
Oh, they're yipping. It's cute. They're yipping. Oh. They're little baby howlers. There's a reason why they went extinct.
Yeah.
There's something obviously there was something obviously bigger that took them out. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
And whether that was us or whether it was another species that took them out, there's obviously a reason why they were took out.
Yeah.
Or there's another species that crossbred with them and got rid of them. So
yeah.
So that's the name of that tune. And you're right. Maybe there's a reason why they're not with us anymore.
Yeah.
If it's just an attraction to put in a zoo, then okay. But then, you have to also ask yourself, is that good for quality of life?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. What do you do with that species after that? What's the point? I don't know. It's a good question. It would be nice to see what they do with dire wolves. And what's you eventually have to figure out what the food source is for this
right.
With this breed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was the reason they died out. Their food source died out.
Yep.
How do you keep them fed? How do you keep them nutritionally balanced?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's nothing on this planet they can eat anymore. I don't know if they've thought of that. So,
yeah.
it's I don't know how much thought they put into it. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but maybe they know. Maybe they don't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ethical questions when you bring something like that back.
Right. Or we just, this is it. Just did I mean, I'd say one and done, but they did two. So
Yeah, they did too. Well, I mean, you know why they did two? They did two because they want to, they want to keep the species going, right?
yeah,
But, do you, is it enough?
right.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm, is it, we could go all day about, is it ethical to, is it ethical to raise a species back and try to keep it alive in an era where it doesn't belong? Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think the question of ethics is always brought up when science is involved.
Yeah. Although the pups are darn cute. They really
They
are.
are so cute.
But pups become adults.
Yeah. It's like, how big do they get? Like polar bear size? Because,
Oh, they're big. Dire wolves are big.
yeah.
And those big things become hungry. And then,
Yeah.
what do you do with them?
Yeah.
Right? And then you become responsible for a population. And then, they're
Mhm.
going to want to breed and they're going to want to,
Yeah.
and then they have families. And then, those families have families. And then,
Yeah.
you know,
And we don't know how they act because they haven't been around for thousands of years.
right,
So
right.
we don't know what they're, yeah.
You have to keep in mind, too, that dire wolves are predators.
Yeah.
So they want to hunt. They're going to want to hunt. You can't, they're part of nature. You have to, you know, you introduce them into the ecosystem and they're not part of the natural ecosystem anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and they're not going to do that. They're probably going to put them in a zoo. So, um, yeah, it's just unusual. It's an unusual move. I realize that this is being done for novelty's sake, but
Right.
you know,
But it is kind of cool when you think about you created this off of a tooth and,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, but because you can do it, do you do it? I
yeah,
mean, they've
true.
done it. They've done
Yeah,
it, but
true.
but now that you've done it, now what do you do?
Yeah.
Right. Um, if I could recreate earmuffs, kids, if I could recreate Santa Claus, would I do it?
Yeah.
You know, if I could reanimate Jesus Christ, would I do it?
Yeah.
You know,
He'd
it's
come back looking like Krampus. The creepy ones from Germany,
right,
the ones that are in those parades.
right, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. All right, so what's going on in your world over there, Paranormal Girl?
Just check it out. I don't have anything going on this week. I've been busy with sports with the kids. So I know that's been kind of taking over my life.
Hmm.
So yeah, so nothing's really going on. What's going on with you?
Well, besides the stuff at KNSI, that's pretty much taking up my world. I tell you what, I am a little behind on the videos at the YouTube page. The YouTube page is the original Darkness Radio. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please do, folks. Head over to the YouTube page. If you don't know how to get there, you can go to darknessradioshow.com. You can get there through there. But I'll be catching up on videos this week. So please be patient. I tell you what, tomorrow's guest, folks, you ready for this? It's an area that I never thought we'd go to, but we're going there. And it's an area that I commend our guest for going to because it's kind of a shitty situation.
Ba-dum-bum.
And actually, Richard Estep, our good friend Richard Estep, said, how did he put it? He said, it's the shittiest book you'll ever read. The book is Unfinished Business, More Tales of Haunted Restrooms and Bathrooms. There's actually two books out there. She's got two books on haunted bathrooms. And we're going to talk about them both tomorrow. Erin Taylor's our guest.
I think it's a great concept.
It is. Yeah. She's such a cool person. So we're going to talk to Erin tomorrow on the program. When Richard said, Richard came up to me at Missouri Paracon and said, I have a guest for you. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah, she's got a book. She's got more than one book on haunted bathrooms. I'm like, dude, sign me up.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't, I was like, I can't believe somebody did it. And he goes, if she wouldn't have, I would have. I was like, seriously? He's like, yep. He said, but I told her you got to write this book. So I'm fascinated. I'm
Does she have
fascinated.
pictures?
You know what? Let me grab. I have the book open in front of me, actually, on my iPad. She has, believe it or not, the Cecil Hotel. She has in the second
Oh,
book. She's got. I'll tell you. She's got in the second book. She's got bathrooms from the Monroe Hotel. Or I'm sorry, Monroe House, Boulder Theater, USS North Carolina Battleship, Moon River Brewery, the Oxford Hotel, Cecil Hotel, Tavern on Main, High Noon Restaurant and Saloon, Elsinore Theater, Cecil Hotel, Bijou Theater, Fairfield County Infirmary, Beale Manor, Captain Cook Hotel, and there's some honorable mentions there. As a matter of fact, let me see. Yes, there are pictures.
okay.
But there are pictures sometimes of the house. So like,
Oh, gotcha. Not the interior bathroom.
yeah. But let me see here. There may be no, I think there's just pictures of the exteriors of the different places.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's of the exteriors. But not so far am I seeing any of the actual bathrooms.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. I take it back. There's one of I forget which bathroom this is, but here's one of the bathrooms here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, she's done a brilliant job with this book. And these books, I should say, they're plural. There's two books we're gonna talk about tomorrow. So yeah, haunted bathrooms, unfinished business. Isn't that a wonderful title?
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Taylor, our guest tomorrow. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely am I smiling about some of these, but haunted bathroom, man. Some people should make $1.5 million off of a concept. Aaron should be making $1.5 million off this concept.
Hey, I've had a couple experiences in bathrooms which I never thought I would.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby Mackey's, right? I think
I've never been to Bobby Mackey's.
I think Bobby Mackey's is in the first book, if I remember right. But yeah, I mean, there's some that are just slam dunks. You go, oh yeah, Bobby Mackey's haunted bathroom. But it's one of those things where I mean, it's a slam dunk, haunted bathrooms. You hear about haunted bathrooms all the time.
Yeah.
And you just go, oh yeah, that should be in a book. Someone should write a book about haunted bathrooms. Well, Aaron Taylor's written the books about haunted bathrooms.
Yeah.
Ninny, ninny, boo boo, stick your head in doo doo. She's done it. Haunted bathrooms.
Yeah.
Like the tie in there.
Yeah.
So that's tomorrow.
And it's like when you're most vulnerable too.
Yes. Yeah. Now I do have an interesting question for her. I'm not going to bring it up right now.
Mm-hmm.
Has everything to do with EMF and metal pipes.
Oh, okay.
And water running. And those of you who are investigators know exactly where I'm going tomorrow.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So that'll come up tomorrow as well. It'll be an interesting show. But unfinished business on tomorrow's show. Unfinished business. I love that. So that'll do it for today. That'll do it for Supernatural News. I want to thank Mallie for being on the program today. And as always, stellar job, Mallie. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
No, it is. I'm not being facetious. Don't think I'm being facetious. You do a stellar job. You always do, my friend. I want to thank everybody in the audience. Attitude of gratitude. I don't think I say it enough or as much as I should. I want to thank everybody for, again, listening to the program. Your feedback as well. If there's a guest you want to hear on the program here, Tim@darknessradio.com. If you have a Parashare story, tim@darknessradio.com. But I want to thank each and every one of you for continuing to listen to the program and for giving your feedback to the program. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you have a kind review of the program, please leave one. Wherever it is you listen to the program, please give us a nice 5-star review and let us know you appreciate the program. That'll do it for today. For Mallie Fox, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for tuning in to the best in paranormal podcasting. This has been Darkness Radio.
For more audio and video archives of the show, intriguing content, and cool swag, check out darknessradioshow.com. The executive producer of Darkness Radio is Troy Palmer. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's program, be sure to like and subscribe. And be sure to join us tomorrow for Haunted Bathrooms with Aaron Taylor.